Before we dive into today's episode, we would like to tell you about this week's show sponsor, Ana Luisa Jewellery. At Ana Luisa, they are the first direct-to-consumer jewellery brand to become carbon neutral. Since founding in 2018, Ana Luisa has evaluated the environmental impact of every aspect of their company, and their goal is to get their carbon footprint to zero. If you want to go and check them out, you can find them at analuisa.com. That's ANALUISA.com.
There is a fantastic selection of jewellery to choose from, so you can style up any outfit for any occasion, whether it be an afternoon coffee date or a night out on the town. So whether you just want to treat yourself or maybe a loved one, Ana Luisa has got you covered. New jewellery collections are released every Friday, and with prices starting from just $39, there's something for everyone. And when you visit their website, prices will be in your local currency, which makes things so much easier.
So, if you want to treat yourself or your loved ones, then head on over to their website, analuisa.com. That's ANALUISA.com, and enter our discount code DIVERS to get 10% off. We absolutely recommend them. They're a great brand, making beautiful, sustainable jewellery. So when you get to the checkout, remember and enter our discount code DIVERS to get 10% off.
And we will put the link in the show notes. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Jill.
And this is CrimeDivers.
Welcome to today's episode.
Hello. So where in the world are we today, Jill?
We are in Kentucky, USA.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky. I was saying Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken and a pizza.
Yeah, it's really sad. But
yeah.
Moving on. So what's the title?
Jealousy and Lies.
Ooh, this sounds like a good one. Shall we dive in?
I think we should.
I think we should, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
That is what we're here to do, so let's go.
Okay, so Donald Scotty Baker, who was known as Scotty, which I find that really hard to say that word.
Scotty?
Yeah, because we're Scottish and we say Scotty.
Scotty.
Don't we?
Yeah.
So but I'm trying to say Scotty.
Oh, Scotty, yeah.
Scotty, because, you know, other people will pronounce it as Scary or Scotty.
Scary. Yeah,
so
really not good at it.
I don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce it properly, so I'm just going to have to pronounce it the way that us Scottish people pronounce it. So
sometimes you can't help your pronunciations.
So I apologise to people who are listening and pronounce it different. We're Scottish. We miss our T's out a lot.
Yes, we do.
As you can see when I said Scottish. Mm-hmm. Right. So Scotty Baker. Stop laughing at me. So Scotty Baker was born on the 17th of February 1982 in Clay County, Kentucky, USA. His parents were Donald, known as Donnie, Baker, and Ruth Rose. At some point his parents divorced, but they still lived close to each other, so Scotty got to spend a lot of time with both parents, and they had joint custody.
Okay.
In August 1991, Scotty's dad, Donnie, 37, met a woman called Stephanie Spitzer. She was 22. I'm not quite sure if she was 21 or 22, because different reports said different ages, so 21 or 22.
Yeah, round about that age.
Yeah, so they got married the following year on Valentine's Day. So I didn't see anything to say that Scotty's mum, Ruth, had got remarried, but she did have two daughters who were older than Scotty, so she's obviously had them from a previous relationship. So Scotty attended Paces Creek Elementary School, and in 1992 he was 10 years old. On the day before Thanksgiving, the children were looking forward to a special holiday lunch before they left for the long weekend. Scotty was excited because after school he was going to his grandmother's house and he was going to stay there the night, his dad's mum. Mm-hmm. He was going to stay there the night and then his dad was going to pick him up the following morning. Donnie was a trucker, so Donnie and Scotty were going to spend the weekend together on a long haul trucking run.
Oh, right, okay.
So Scotty was really excited about it because it was just him and his dad, out on the road, so he was really looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. So Scotty was supposed to have an afternoon tutor at school and then get the bus to his grandmother's house after school at 3 p.m. But as it was his mum's first Thanksgiving without Scotty, she and one of her daughters decided to go and surprise Scotty and pick him up from school and drive him to his grandmother's house just so she could see him just before the weekend.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah.
So Ruth waited in the car while her daughter went into the school to get Scotty. Mm-hmm. But she couldn't see Scotty, so she asked his teacher if she knew where he was. And the teacher said that he hadn't turned up for his tutoring, and she just thought that he had skipped it to start his long weekend early.
Mm-hmm.
And as Ruth hadn't called ahead to tell the school that she was coming, they wouldn't have any reason to sort of keep him, or because nobody knew she was coming.
Right.
So she just assumed that he must have just got on the bus as previously planned, and that they'd just missed him.
So she would have been feeling disappointed that she obviously missed him. Yeah.
But she thought, well, we'll just pop to his grandmother's and we'll see him there. So they drove to the grandmother's, who lived quite close by, but he wasn't there.
Oh.
So Ruth was kind of like, oh shit, where is he? So she started calling around Scotty's friends to see if anyone knew where he was, but no one had seen him. They had a quick look around the neighbourhood, but there was no sign of him, so Ruth headed back to the school. So all the teachers had gone home for the holiday weekend, but the principal was still in his office. So Ruth explained that she couldn't find her son, and he said that he would call Scotty's teacher at home. But as he was looking, he was looking for the phone number. And they have how they have like a book on the reception that you sign in and sign out, like a visitor's book kind of thing. So Ruth opened that and had a look, and she saw that Scotty had actually been signed out of school at 11:20 that morning.
All right.
So he had been signed out by a Patricia Smith, and Ruth recognised the name. Scotty's dad, Donnie, he had a cousin called Patricia Smith, but Ruth had only met her once, like years before, and Scotty had never met her.
Right, okay.
So that was strange.
Yeah.
So the principal said that he would call the school secretary and find out, what happened, because...
I'm assuming they would have had to go to the sort of reception desk and say, oh, I'm here to pick up.
Yeah, because the signs are out.
So the person would have spoke to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wanted to find out what happened, because this cousin didn't have authority to take Scotty out of school, so it shouldn't have been allowed. So, somebody wasn't doing their job properly. So the principal tracked... I was quite surprised, actually. He tracked the school secretary down to a hospital where she was visiting a sick relative, and he actually phoned her at the hospital. So he must have phoned her at home, and somebody's been at home and said,
oh, maybe
she's visiting somebody in hospital. I don't know. Anyway, he obviously... But then good on him, because he obviously thought it was important enough to track her down to the hospital.
Absolutely.
So she was visiting a sick relative. So he asked her if she had released Scotty to a woman called Patricia Smith. And she said, yeah, she had. She said that Patricia, a dark-haired woman with glasses, had walked into the school about 11:15 and said that she was Scotty's cousin and was picking him up to take him to his dad. And it just so happened that Scotty's 5th grade class was actually passing by the office on the way to the Thanksgiving lunch. And the secretary saw him. So, she shouted Scotty over and told him that his cousin had come to pick him up early from school. So Scotty knew that he had a cousin. Well, his dad had a cousin, but he knew that he had a cousin called Patricia. And the secretary said that he didn't seem scared and was quite happy to leave with the woman.
Because I was going to ask, was my next question, if he didn't recognise or didn't know what she looked like, was there no, as I said, apprehension of I'm not sure who this is, sort of thing?
Well, no. He didn't. I mean, he was 10 years old. He knew he had a cousin of that name.
So
he was getting picked up. I think he was so excited about going to see his dad.
Yeah.
That because they had him and his dad did have a really close relationship. And I think he was just that excited that his dad had sent somebody to come and pick him up.
Yeah, so
him, he might not know this woman, but she was still family. So if his dad thought it was all right, I'm just assuming this is what he thought. So he was quite happy to leave with the woman.
Right.
So Ruth did think that it did make sense that if Donnie was just sort of passing whilst at work, that he might get someone to pick Scotty up and take him to see him, but she couldn't understand why it would be somebody that Scotty didn't know.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. I could understand you asking somebody that Scotty knows to go and pick him up. If you're busy or you've been held up, then yeah. But if he's never even met this person, then I would be like, oh, I wouldn't want to put them in that position because it's a stranger to them at the end of the day.
I think probably she was just trying not to panic, and she was just trying to think of alternative, what trying to sort of rationalise what had happened. I think that's probably what she was doing. But she demanded that the principal call the police and report that Scotty was missing. So officers came to the school straight away, and the principal found a school photo of him and gave it to him, plus names and addresses of his classmates. So Ruth told them about Patricia Smith, but, as I said, she'd only met this woman once, years before, so she didn't have an address or a phone number for her, so the officers, obviously, they set out to track her down. And she actually lived really close to the school.
Did they not even phone the dad to find out?
Well, no, he's a trucker, so he was on the road.
Ah, right.
And remember, this is the days before mobile phones.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, I mean, I know at some point she did phone. Well, we'll get to that, but yeah, they can't obviously get a hold of him while he's on the road.
Yeah, so like that instantly, yeah.
Yeah. So when, so this Patricia Smith, so she lived close to the school. The officers went to her house. She didn't fit the description whatsoever, and her alibi checked out. She had cast iron alibi, so they're like, right, okay, it's not her. So the officers checked out every other woman called Patricia Smith within a 100-mile radius of the school. There was 4 of them.
Right.
And they were all at home, but none of them fitted the description of what the school secretary had given, and they all had solid alibis. So it was obvious by now that whoever the woman was that picked Scotty up wasn't called Patricia Smith.
I was going to say, she wasn't her, no.
No.
But she must have known that there was a relative in that family then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But stop jumping ahead, woman! You're trying to solve this case!
I know. Well, you're giving me clues and I'm like, I want to know what happened now.
I'm not intentionally doing it, I'm just telling you the facts.
Okay.
So, as you just questioned, Ruth tried to reach Donnie to see if he knew anything, but as he was a trucker with no mobile phone, all she could do was leave a message with his manager so he would get it when he arrived at his destination. Right. So, but she was sure that Donnie would know where Scotty was. Mm-hmm. But again, I think that's just because that was sort of our only hope, that he was with somebody. Yeah. That he was safe and it was somebody that his dad knew or whatever. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, the police had been visiting all of Scotty's friends. One of his friends had spent all that morning with him, and he said that he saw Scotty leave with a woman, and he also saw the car that they got into, but he didn't know what kind of car it was, but he knew it had 4 doors, and he'd obviously know the colour and stuff, but,
he didn't know the make.
No, neither would I, so... But he did mention that Scotty seemed really happy to be leaving, and, he didn't seem to be... He wasn't scared, not showing any fear, he was quite happy to go. And he said that Scotty had all he talked about that day was that he was going to be spending the whole weekend with his dad, so he was obviously really looking forward to it, and I think that's probably why... I mean, he might have went willingly with this woman anyway. I mean, we don't know the little boy, but I think that's probably why he was as willing to go with, because he was just so excited about seeing his dad.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't have thought for 1 minute that it wasn't genuine.
Yeah, of course. I was 10 years old. So by the time that Scotty had been missing for 10 hours, and there'd been no ransom call, so obviously it wasn't like a kidnapping. So police turned their attention to his family and friends. And I think in most cases when a child goes missing, the parents are looked at like straight away, especially if they're divorced, because it could just be a custody thing. Uh-huh. So the police questioned Ruth about her and Donnie's relationship, and she told them that they were respectful for Scotty's sake and they had joint custody. Uh-huh. And she said to her knowledge that when Donnie was with Scotty, he always treated him really well, and they had a really close relationship. Mm-hmm. And if there was anyone that she thought could harm her son, it could be Stephanie, Donnie's wife, who had been married to for 9 months. Right. Ruth said that Stephanie was jealous of Scotty's closeness with his dad. She said she didn't know much about Stephanie, but she knew that Scotty said he didn't want to go to their house anymore, like when she was there, and that he didn't want to be around Stephanie much.
So is that kind of again maybe why I was so excited about just going out with his dad on his own potentially because she wasn't going to be Uh-huh.
And she felt that if she felt that Scotty was picking up on the feelings of jealousy from her, and that's why he didn't want to be around her and stuff, because he just knew that she was jealous. Yeah. But investigators thought that Ruth could be jealous of Donnie's new wife as well.
Oh, that's feasible, I suppose.
And with the time that Stephanie and Donnie had been spending with Scotty. Mm-hmm. But they believed that at least one of Scotty's guardians was likely responsible for his disappearance. Mm-hmm. As soon as Donnie heard that Scotty was missing, he rushed home and he headed straight out to start searching for him. Him and Stephanie drove to some nearby woods where Donnie and Scotty often hunted and shot at targets together, but there was no sign of him. It was nearly morning, and Stephanie had persuaded Donnie to give up for the night as they needed sleep. So a few hours later, Donnie and Ruth started handing out flyers with Scotty's photo on it, but they ended up arguing and they were accusing each other of taking Scotty and hiding him. Mm-hmm. Despite that, though, they kind of put their difference aside. They're right, okay.
Yeah.
We
need to focus on finding our son.
So they still put up posters everywhere, and they went to every business that was open, but I'm sure a lot of places were probably shut because it was Thanksgiving by now.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So, well, we're Scottish, but I think Thanksgiving's quite a big thing.
Yeah, it is a massive thing in America.
So I think most businesses would probably be shut on Thanksgiving then, won't they? It's like a holiday.
Yeah, I think so.
It?
Yeah.
So there was some places that were open, but, not a lot. So the police went to Donnie and Stephanie's house that day to interview them, and they were interviewed separately. Donnie told them that he had planned to pick Scotty up that morning and they were going on a truck haul, and he confirmed that he hadn't sent his cousin Patricia Smith or anyone else to take him out of school. Mm-hmm. Stephanie told them that on the morning that Scotty was taken, she had been at home doing laundry with her friend Suzanne. She said that she suspected Ruth was probably hiding Scotty somewhere. She also said that she believed Ruth was jealous of her marriage to Donnie and she would try something drastic to win him back. So, it was all about jealousy, hence the title.
Yeah.
Detectives also interviewed the school secretary, as she was the only one that actually saw the woman who took Scotty face to face. So she was showing photos of all the women in the family, but none of them was the woman that took Scotty.
Right, okay.
And she said even if the woman had been wearing a disguise, she was like, nah, it was definitely none of them. So after more than 24 hours of searching, finding Scotty alive and well was becoming less likely. So police decided to give the family members polygraph tests to eliminate them. So Ruth was tested first, and she also provided a handwriting sample to compare to the signature of the woman who signed Scotty out of school. Her handwriting didn't match the suspect's, and the results of the polygraph showed no signs of deception. Donnie was called in for testing next. Even though he had been out of the state when Scotty disappeared, they couldn't rule out his possible involvement.
Yeah.
He could send somebody to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the results of his polygraph came back inconclusive.
Okay.
So they wanted to get Stephanie in next for testing, but she said she was pregnant. And the state police, they have a policy, the Kentucky State Police have a policy that they won't give a pregnant woman a polygraph test.
Oh, okay.
So investigators didn't know if they were obviously kind of a bit,
Did they get to prove?
But yeah, they sent her to the hospital to find out for sure that yes, she was pregnant.
Oh, right, okay.
So Stephanie did provide a handwriting sample, and it didn't match the woman who took Scotty. So she also gave a detailed account of her activities that day, and she maintained that she spent the morning at home doing laundry with her friend Suzanne, and some of the time they were on the phone to another friend.
Why would you do laundry with your friend?
Well, maybe people do that.
I suppose maybe back in those
Excuse me,
days.
there's been times when I've been at your house and I've hung up laundry for you. I've hung out your washing outside.
Oh yeah, but you're not exactly doing it with me. It's just that it's been there and you've...
Well, maybe that was the case with those two.
Alright.
I don't know, or maybe they took turns to go to each other's house and do their... I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. In Scotland, we do our own laundry. We don't help each other, but, maybe they do.
Okay.
So, and some of the time they were on the phone to another friend. So by the early afternoon they had finished and they planned to head back to Suzanne's house, but Suzanne realised that she'd lost her keys and thought that she'd locked them in the trunk of her car. So they called several locksmiths, but none of them were immediately available. So Suzanne called her mum to come and pick her up. Suzanne gave investigators Suzanne's address so they could confirm it with her. They went to her house that night. She said, yeah, she was at Stephanie's house doing laundry. And she also confirmed that they'd spoken to another friend on the phone at about 11. And they were making plans to get together sometime over the long weekend. She also confirmed that her mum came to pick her up after losing her keys. And then she gave the officers the friend's phone number who had called so they could confirm it with her. So I think I'll just stop there so that we can take a minute to tell everyone a little bit more about today's show sponsor, Ana Luisa Jewellery.
If you want to go and check out their website, it's analuisa.com, which is ANALUISA.com. And also, if you enter our unique code at checkout, which is Divers, you'll actually get 10% off. So we actually received some jewellery from Ana Luisa, which was very nice. So I thought, Jill, maybe you could tell us a bit about yours?
Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful, aren't they? We got 3 pieces each. I got a ring, and it's an adjustable one, which is brilliant if you don't know your ring size. It's gold, and it has a white stripe going through it. Absolutely gorgeous. I got a necklace, which is a gold necklace with a flower on it, and the flower is white, so it actually matches my ring. And I also got a pair of earrings, which are like a hoop, and they have a lightning bolt dangling from them. And I just wanted to say, especially about the earrings, they're perfect, because for about 10 years now, I haven't been able to wear earrings.
That's right.
Normally, my ear swells up, it gets really hot and sore, and you're lucky if I can even wear them for a minute. I have to take them straight back out again. But with these ones, they're fantastic. I can't even feel that I've got them in my ears. They don't hurt. They don't swell up. So Ana Luisa makes miracles.
They definitely do.
So,
and speaking of miracles, I mean, like my 3 pieces that I've also got some earrings as well, which are just like silver sort of hoops, like, but very like hoops like right up to your ear, so not like dangling hoops.
They're really nice though. They're really pretty.
Which I have still got in.
Yeah.
But like Jill, I'm not as bad as Jill, but I have had issues with my ears where after a day or a few days, they get really sore and lumpy, so I always have to take them out. So I haven't really been wearing earrings for a long time, but wanted to try them again, and honestly, these are amazing. Can't even feel it in my ears. I've slept with them. They're brilliant. So highly recommend the earrings, especially if your ears hurt.
Yeah.
Go and try those. I also got a nice silver bracelet, which, it's quite plain really, but it's got a bit that dangles down with a cross on it.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I quite like that, which is quite nice. And I also got a ring as well, which is, it's a gold ring, which is like a sort of crisscross. So it's like 2 bands that are crossed. And it's got like sort of diamond-y things on the top of them. So yeah, very nice. I really like them. Very happy.
All 6 pieces are absolutely beautiful, aren't they? They're
really are.
The quality, the look of them. They're brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely recommend them.
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, as we said before, we absolutely recommend Ana Luisa. So remember, that's Ana Luisa, ANALUISA. .com. They're a great brand. They're making beautiful, sustainable jewellery. So when you get to the checkout, remember and enter our discount code DIVERS to get 10% off. That's DIVERS, DIVERS, to get 10% off. Okay, so shall we dive back into today's case?
Yeah, let's dive back in.
Okay, so the following day, the 27th of November 1992, the police called the FBI for help, and they were still looking at the family as suspects. So they interviewed Ruth again, and she told them that she hadn't had a ransom call and that she still believed that Donnie and Stephanie had Scotty hidden away somewhere. She told them that she had never spent any time with Stephanie, so didn't know her very well. But sometimes she would see her at the local shop, but she never spoke to her, as Stephanie and her friend Suzanne were really immature and seemed to mock Ruth from a distance. Because remember, these women are like 21, 22.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm not actually sure how old Ruth was, but Donnie was 37, so and obviously they had a 10-year-old child, so I'm assuming she's probably maybe in her 30s. Or late 20s, I suppose. She also said that Stephanie harassed her children. Just a week before Scotty went missing, Stephanie had followed Ruth's daughter and Scotty home, which is a bit weird. Nothing else kind of came out of that. But Scotty felt that Stephanie hated him because he visited his dad so often. He told his mum that he didn't like going to see his dad if Stephanie was going to be there. So once the FBI agent had interviewed Ruth, he was sure that she wasn't involved, and he didn't suspect that she had anything to do with Scotty's disappearance. He then asked Donnie to come in for an interview, and they gave him a second polygraph, which he passed this time.
Right, okay.
Then he told the agent that he also suspected his wife Stephanie might know more than she was letting on. So he was getting a bit sus. So he told the agent that the relationship between himself, Stephanie and Scotty had become strained, and just before Donnie left on his most recent trip, Stephanie became angry because he wasn't thrilled at the news that she was pregnant. Don't know why he wasn't thrilled, doesn't say, but she was pregnant, he wasn't
that happy about it. Okay.
So, and she was convinced it was because Donnie was so close with Scotty.
Like he didn't want another child to come in.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And she complained that he spent more time with his son than with her. Which,
I mean, I'm sure...
Don't get jealous of children.
Well, the thing is, though, if he's not living with his dad, because he's also living with his mum, he's not spending every waking hour with his son. His son's going to be at school during the week.
Well, I think the problem is because he's a trucker. So because
he'll be away.
He's away a lot, and when he does come home, obviously he'll be wanting to see his son.
Yeah.
But she would have known that before they got married, that he had a son, and the fact that he was a trucker and that he wouldn't have much time at home and stuff like that. So If you're not going to be happy with that, then don't get together with somebody who has a child in.
Well, yeah.
If you're going to be jealous of that child, then, you know...
Well, exactly. You've got
find somebody who doesn't have children.
Yeah, exactly. You've obviously been aware of the situation you're getting yourself into, so if you want to be with that person, then you've got to...
take everything that comes with it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure, you know, you still are going to get to spend time together. It's just that you have to compromise on that.
Exactly. But, you know, well, you know, as I said, like, it seems like she was quite immature as well. So,
yeah, maybe
she didn't want to share them. But, as I said, she knew what she was getting herself into. So,
exactly.
Yeah, just, no. Or try and make an effort with the child and then you can all spend time together.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know. But, if you had thought that they were going to all get on together, then they might have been quite happy.
Anyway, so Donnie had found Stephanie's diary and he gave it to investigators as evidence. So they found several passages that were disturbing. There were things like, Donnie loves Scotty more than me.
Oh my god, are we in like bloody high school or
That's
something?
what it sounds like. Well, she's immature.
Well, yeah.
I hate Donnie. I hate Scotty. I wish Scotty was gone. I wish something would happen to him.
Not looking very good.
No. There were a lot of indications in that diary that she resented Scotty and that she hated him. So the FBI called Stephanie in for a polygraph test. Unlike the Kentucky police, the FBI don't have a policy that makes pregnant women exempt from testing. So
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Because if it's good enough for one part of the police to do it, then why is it not good enough for another?
I don't know. I mean, it did say the Kentucky police, so maybe other states are different. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have looked into it, but I didn't. So
fair enough.
But yeah, so the FBI don't have that policy, so they're quite happy to give a pregnant woman a polygraph test. So when the examiner asked if she knew what had happened to Scotty, her response indicated deception. So following the exam, she was held for further questioning. So with the test results, plus the information from her diary, officers asked her again about what she did that day. She stood firm and she told them again about doing laundry with Suzanne and speaking to their friend on the phone.
Which they had actually confirmed this. So
yeah, and the time of the call was at 11 a.m, so this was an important piece of information because Scotty was taken at 11:20. But because it was a holiday weekend, the phone records couldn't actually be checked because the phone company offices were shut.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's because when I was researching, I'm like, why did they not just check the phone records rather than asking the friends and stuff? But yeah, that's why.
Right.
So to agents, Stephanie's demeanour struck them as odd, since she appeared unfazed that her stepson had now been missing for 2.5 days. She seemed cold when she talked about Scotty, and she just didn't seem to be concerned with his disappearance.
Right.
So she supplied a second handwriting sample, but the FBI confirmed that the writing didn't match the one that signed Scotty out of school.
But then to me, like, could you not easily make your handwriting different? Because I mean, I can write in different ways when I want to.
Yeah, but handwriting experts can still tell. They can still tell, because I'm sure you still do things the same way, kind of without realising it. And it's the way that you hold the pen as well and stuff like that, and like which hand you're writing with, so all that kind of stuff. So even if your writing's a little bit different, I just mean to say they can't tell.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Not that I'm a handwriting expert or anything, but... So since Stephanie's alibi was that she was with her friend Suzanne, agents went back to her house as they wanted to interview her and get her in for a polygraph test. So the agents thought that Stephanie and Suzanne's statements were too alike. So it was like they were totally rehearsed, yeah, and their stories never changed or wavered, and they became the main suspects. So Suzanne wasn't home, so the agents went to her mum's house to ask if she knew where her daughter was, and she said that Suzanne and her husband had gone to Florida. Her husband was also a truck driver and was scheduled to make a delivery, and Suzanne had gone with him. And the mother didn't know when they would be back. So an investigator went to the trucking company where Suzanne's husband was employed. The foreman confirmed that he was scheduled to arrive at his destination the following morning, but he couldn't confirm if Suzanne or Scotty was with him.
Right.
He didn't see anybody else. It was just him. And as no one knew what route the trucker would be taking, they wouldn't be able to track them down on the road, because obviously they'd have a head start and everything anyway.
Exactly. And I mean, the highways and stuff in America are massive, so yeah. It's like a needle in a haystack, probably.
So the FBI did think that there was a good chance that Scotty could be with the couple. So they decided to get agents, obviously from Florida,
to meet them at the
to be at the destination when they arrived. So the next day, which was the 1st of December 1992, at 7 a.m, FBI agents arrived at the warehouse where Suzanne's husband was due to make the delivery. The truck was due to arrive at 7:30, but it actually already arrived because they were wanting to get there first before they got there. So the truck was there. The door was open, but there was no sign of the driver or Suzanne. So they were, having a little nose about. And then Suzanne's husband sort of came round from behind the back of the truck. And, what are you doing? And so they explained who they were, and that they wanted to speak to his wife. And he said that she was sleeping in the cab. So they asked for permission to search the truck for Scotty, and he said, "Yeah, no problem." So Scotty wasn't there, but Suzanne was. So she woke up and got out of the truck, and they asked her questions about Scotty, but she said that she'd never even met Scotty.
Right.
So she agreed to go to the FBI office because they wanted to, take fingerprints, photographs, polygraph tests, handwriting sample. They wanted to do all that with her. So she was found to be deceptive when asked about her alibi, and the test revealed that she likely knew where Scotty was now.
Ooh.
But she still denied it, but she couldn't be arrested just because of a failed polygraph.
There's more evidence than that.
But after an hour of questioning, Suzanne broke. So...
So she does know what happened.
She does. Who do you think done it? Who do you think took him out of school?
Her?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So, serious now.
Because obviously with Stephanie, because... Well, what? I was going to say that Scotty would have known it was her, but...
But Scotty went willingly.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah. Right, go.
Okay, so Suzanne broke, yeah. So, sorry, serious now, because this is actually what happened. So, she admitted that she had put on a disguise and she went to the school saying that she was Scotty's cousin, Patricia Smith. So, obviously, Stephanie knew that he had a cousin. That's where that name came from. She said that Stephanie had persuaded her to do it as she wanted to get back at her husband, Donnie, after their argument, about when she said she was pregnant. So, as Scotty had never met either Patricia Smith or Suzanne, Stephanie was sure that Scotty would go with Patricia, as he knew that he had a cousin of that name, and he, as I said earlier, he would just be so excited, to see his dad. So, Stephanie drove Suzanne to Scotty's school, and she hid in the back seat while Suzanne went in to get Scotty. So, as I say, Scotty was quite happy to come out, got in the car, chatting away. And, Suzanne started to drive off. Obviously, Stephanie was in the back. So, Scotty had told Suzanne how excited he was that he was going to be spending time alone with his dad that weekend. He had no idea that Stephanie was in the back. And then, all of a sudden, she reached round and grabbed Scotty and started choking him. And Suzanne said that she had no idea what was going to happen. But Stephanie then pulled Scotty into the back seat, and Suzanne begged her to stop and to leave him alone, but she said that Suzanne just freaked out and she strangled him to death. And Suzanne just kept driving, and she said that she just kept driving because she didn't know what to do. And I'm like, well, stop the car.
Well, yeah, that would be a start.
Slam those fucking brakes on. Tell your fucking friend to get off this little 10-year-old fucking boy.
Well, yeah, how could you, just drive along letting that happen?
I know.
I mean,
I get that maybe she was in shock.
Yeah, I get that.
And things like that, but still, would you still keep driving?
I don't think I would, but I
know, we can't say.
No.
We can't say what people would be thinking or what people would have done and stuff like that. We can't even say what we would have done because we've never been in that situation, but I find it really hard to believe that she's like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I'll just keep driving.
Yeah, I find that so strange. So Stephanie had told Suzanne that she would put the blame on her because she was the one who took Scotty out of school. So she felt that she had no other choice but to help dispose of the body. I mean, even after that, she could have still went and told the truth.
I know, she could have went to the police.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, she would have been in trouble because she did obviously, took him out of school and stuff. So that's, but, it would have been a lot better than probably what trouble she was going to get into now.
Exactly. So they drove to an abandoned strip mine and searched for a spot to hide the body away from the road. So they So they left him there. They went to get gasoline, and they came back a few hours later, and they burned Scotty's body.
Oh my God.
And then they buried him. And so obviously this is her telling the FBI everything. So then they asked her exactly where. So she drew a map of exactly where he was.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 days after Scotty had been taken out of school, authorities found his charred remains.
Ugh.
And he even still had his backpack on.
Oh no.
I know. For some reason that just got me. I was like, oh, he still even had his school bag
That's
on.
awful.
I know. And so they found his remains, and Stephanie Baker eventually confessed to the murder. She said that she didn't mean to kill Scotty. And she said that when Suzanne had taken her wig off, Scotty had got a fright and tried to jump out of the moving car. So Stephanie said that she grabbed his sweatshirt and pulled onto it to stop him from falling out of the car and ended up strangling him. Now, even if that was the case, you still could have went to the police and said, look, this is what happened.
Yeah, or, I mean, if she had to grab him, I'm assuming he must have
opened the door.
Opened the door to try and get out. I mean, would have had any injuries that they may have taken to hospital, or they could have stopped the car. She could have
slammed those brakes on and stopped the car.
So then, even if he did run, at least he would have just not been in a moving car.
So yeah, I just think it's bullshit. I think she knew exactly what she was going to do.
I don't believe that one for a second.
No. So Suzanne was found guilty of reckless homicide, kidnapping and abusing a corpse, and she got 25 years in prison. Mm. And she was released in 2008 after serving 15 years.
Right.
Stephanie pled guilty to murder, kidnapping and abusing a corpse, and she got a life sentence with a minimum of 25 years. So 7 months after entering prison, Stephanie gave birth to a baby boy. Mm-hmm. Her parents adopted him, and Donnie divorced her.
Right.
She got married in prison at some point.
To who?
I don't know.
So did Donnie not want the child?
Well, the only thing that I saw about that was that he said that would be best for the child considering his occupation because he was a trucker.
Right.
So I don't know. Hopefully he would have had access. Mm-hmm. And that's why it just said that the kid was brought up with the parents. So, they adopted him. So maybe he still had access and still
had a relationship.
I don't know. He might not have. Yeah. But the reason why he didn't have custody was because, well, how could you if you're a trucker? Like, how can you look after a child?
Well, this is very true.
So, I don't know who she got married to. And she went before the parole board in 2017. She went in front of the parole board. Can't say that very well, can I? Parole board. Uh-huh. Is it board? I can't say very well.
I don't know. Anyway.
It sounded weird. But they denied her parole, and she has to spend the rest of her life in prison.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Well, fair enough.
And as a result of Scotty's case, state legislation was passed in Kentucky requiring photo ID for any person assigning a child out of school.
Which is, yeah.
It's a pity that something so bad had to happen for that to...
But a lot of these things, like a lot of good things, sadly, come out of a lot of bad things that have happened, for them to learn and make things better.
I think I've actually done quite a few cases now where I've said, well, here's a charity that's been set up, there's an app that's been brought out, that there's been laws changed.
Yeah.
I've done quite a few of them now because of these tragedies.
Exactly.
I mean, it's good that these things are happening, but it's a shame that it takes a tragedy to make these things happen.
But I mean, taking a kid out of school, you need to have more than just somebody coming in and signing out in a disguise.
I know. I wish I had a wig on. I mean, I think I actually read somewhere, but I'm not sure if it was confirmed, so I didn't write it down. But I think the school secretary had said I'd seen that she had a wig on, so she'd say, "Oh yeah, she had a wig on." But a lot of women wear wigs, which is fair enough. Yeah. But still, a woman's coming in with a wig on. Mm-hmm. You don't recognise her because this school secretary apparently knew the majority of the parents. Mm-hmm. She she knew their faces and everything like that. So it's just she must have spent the rest of her life. If she's she might be. I don't know if she's still alive or not. But she must spend the rest of her days feeling so guilty. I mean, she wasn't to know that was going to happen.
No, I mean, she's not in any shape or form to blame if that was the policy of the school. If as long as she followed what was to be done.
No, but it wasn't the policy of the school, because if you remember, the headmaster or the principal called her because he said that wasn't the policy to let. That no, it wasn't the policy. He said that the cousin didn't have authority to take Scotty out of school.
Yeah, that's right enough.
So she was obviously, unfortunately, not doing her job properly.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
You know, she wasn't to know what happened. But like,
still not her fault.
But what I'm saying is, like, can you imagine the guilt you would feel?
Oh yeah, you probably did feel a lot of guilt. Yeah,
knowing
totally.
that happened afterwards. I mean,
No, but seriously, I mean, you know, you've got to understand that a child's relationship with their parents is naturally, you know, it is going to come first. Especially when it's like a split family where, you know, the parents have split up and, you know, the mum or dad's potentially remarried and they've already got kids. I mean, you've got to understand that they will come first. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get time. And again, you know, and unfortunately, whatever his occupation was, I mean, you knew that getting into that relationship and you knew that he had a kid. So you had to take some, you know, you had to accept that there was going to be times when you weren't going to see this man because of his work or because of his child. But again, if you had made the effort with his child, then maybe you would have done more stuff together.
Well, why didn't she?
Or so what? Let me have some time together.
But why didn't she go on some of his runs with him?
Well, yeah.
Because Suzanne did that with her husband when they were going to Florida.
Yeah.
You know, Scotty was going to be going with him for the weekend.
Maybe, we don't know. I mean, maybe
she didn't have any other responsibilities. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. She maybe had a job, but I'm surely you could take a day off now and again or whatever, or at the weekends. You know, when you have your days off, you don't work. Well, most people don't work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So no, I'm sorry. You don't kill the child just because you're jealous of the relationship.
I'm not being funny, but you haven't. You've definitely ruined your relationship now.
Well, yeah, that's just stupid. She obviously thought she was going to get away with it, though.
Well, I know. These obviously people do think they're going to get away with it, but you know, you've just ruined people's lives. Poor little boy has tragically lost his life.
And apparently, like, this person that you love, your husband that you love, you just ruined his life by killing his child.
So he's not going to see you.
Exactly, because surely that must be the worst thing ever to happen to you, is for your child to die and to be murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So, yeah.
No, that's just...
So I found that pretty horrendous, that story.
Yeah, no, that was awful. I didn't...
Did you not like that one?
No.
No, I know. I don't like any of them. But yeah, I mean, like, when it's a child, I mean, try not to do too many children ones. But, you know, sometimes they creep up now and again.
I know, sadly, they do happen.
I know. So, thank you to everybody for listening. And just before we finish the episode...
Yeah, just so you know, as you know, we had our show sponsor Ana Luisa today, so we'll have a post on our Instagram.
Yeah, we've done a video.
We've done a video and a post, and that'll show you the jewellery, us looking at the jewellery, modelling it, unboxing it from their little pouches that they come in. So
yeah, so be sure to head over to our Instagram if you want to have a look at that jewellery, which we'll be putting on after this episode. So our Instagram is crime_divers_pod if you want to go and have a look.
Yeah, and if any of the jewellery takes your fancy, then you can head over to the analuisa.com website, and we have a unique code which will grab you 10% off if you did want to order something, and that code is DIVERS, which is DIVERS.
So remember and head on over to analuisa.com. That's ANALUISA.com.
And if you want to keep listening to us, don't forget to subscribe,
rate, review.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.